to her last night, and she said yes. She was ready. So
There we go. Well, we're live. Good morning,
morning.
everybody. Hi.
Welcome
So
to
the Alia Nelson show.
Yeah, yeah.
we have as a guest Dr. Kiltz. You don't know him, but he's a carnivore doctor.
I like being the guest. Absolutely, absolutely. I have a Kiltz Mighty Tribe on also, and we're not in the basement. So yesterday, then I get up to the kitchen, and Pilar and Luca are sleeping on the couch because I was making too much noise in the basement.
Aww.
So we got soundproof the basement. That's next.
For your morning live streams in Princeton.
In Princeton, we got Debbie Maynard, Eve Medworth, Amy Perrin, Keith Strickler, and Andrew Paquette and David B on the Kiltz Mighty Tribe, and also then we got our Instagram.
So
Dr. Vazquez, how are you today?
We're doing okay.
And I don't know, it's been 20 plus years since I've delivered a baby. When was the last time you delivered a baby?
1988.
Wow.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
That's when I was in my residency.
Yeah, me too. When I did my residency in family medicine, and that included delivering babies. So, but after 88, in clinical practice, never did it. Good morning.
Good morning. So sorry.
Yay.
Technical difficulties.
No worries.
My AirPods would not connect this morning for some strange reason. So we'll just have to do without them.
Well, we got you here. We got you.
Yeah. Look what
Can
Nicholas
you hear
said.
me okay?
Yeah.
All right.
I can hear you, I think. I hear you.
Wow, guys, this is early.
Where are you in this world, Diane?
I am in Boston, Massachusetts.
Right, that's right. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, Boston Carnivore.
Yeah.
What's the temperature over there?
Oh my gosh. I don't even want to know, Nelson. Let's check it out. Let's see. We are 19 degrees.
Yeah.
Ew.
Boston is the reason that I am in Florida.
That makes sense to me. Yes, absolutely.
Wasn't Boston, but most people outside Massachusetts say, everybody that lives in Massachusetts, I live in Boston, right? But I lived an hour from Boston, in Pittsburgh. I had 3 of my kids. I had them in Massachusetts.
Wow.
The firstborn was born in Long Island, but he spent his night before his first birthday in Massachusetts.
Wow. I have 3 boys. Well, they're not boys. I'm sorry. I have 3 men. They're my oldest. I'm sorry.
They're still boys.
Yeah, they'll always be my boys. Hey, any news on the baby front, Dr. Kiltz?
False alarm. We're waiting until Monday. Could happen anytime though, and I'm prepared to drive, fly, walk, run, anything. But, Monday morning is herald. Hark the herald angel cometh. And so excited
Herald Angel, love it.
I love it also.
Yeah.
So for that, I put hashtag baby watch. Put hashtag baby watch, one word, into the chat to win a Kiltz cup.
Okay. So Diane,
I want to introduce you to my baby.
Aww.
Yeah, Diane.
Okay, so cute. So cute.
This is Coco.
Aw. Hi, Coco.
We've got a couple of questions. And I just, because I'm looking at a few others that you guys don't see, but Frank the baritone asked about fiber. Why is fiber not necessary for the gut? Maybe Dr. Nelson could take that one.
Well, I could give you the standard answer until a few years ago. For me, you got to have fiber to move your bowels, or I could give you my most recent position is, what do you need it for? Uh, Studies don't seem to bear the proof that we really need much fiber. And a lot of people get concerned. I have a friend actually that we had been exchanging ideas over diet, and oh, I could never do that, carnivore, because how am I going to go to the bathroom and clean my colon? I like to refer people to what's his name down under. Paul Mason has a YouTube video presentation on that, backed by studies. On there's no worsening of anything. Actually, there seems to be improvement, and I've had recent patients with ulcerative colitis, Crohn's, and irritable bowel syndrome that have been suffered for lifelong problems with their bowels, and they have come to realize that sometimes too much fiber actually makes them worse, right? So anyway,
fiber is fermentable, which makes heat, gas, alcohol, aldehydes, and it's so the bowels always move, don't they?
And
Can't stop them.
With some fibers, you actually run the risk of constipation.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Fiber Menace, good book. Why Fiber is Not Good for You by DC mentioned that.
So we have Diane Ladd this morning with us, and by the way, I was checking on whether Diane Ladd, the actress, was alive or not. Just this morning, I realized that she's the mother of Laura Dern, which I also, is an actress I like. She's 89.
Well,
I look good, right?
You look amazing.
It's Carnivore.
It's Diane Ladd. Diane. We were this weekend at the Tampa meetup by Dr. Kiltz, the first annual Dr. Kiltz Tampa meetup.
I forgot that he said that, so I'll put it on the schedule for next year.
That's right.
Yeah.
So why don't you introduce yourself and tell us who you are, besides having a famous name.
It's a little bit of a trouble, when you try to get a website and you can't get it unless I say the real Diane Ladd, right?
Well, yeah, that's what happened with me and my YouTube name. There were other Dr. Nelsons and Dr. Vazquez. So I'm the real Dr. Vazquez.
So like I said, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, and I came into Carnivore much like a lot of people that I hear their stories. So my story was I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2016. And it was right at a time in my life where I went back to school later in my life, and I wanted to be a mental health therapist, and went to BC and graduated and went through the whole rigmarole of finishing my undergrad, and then went to get my graduate degree. And at the end of my schooling, something strange was happening to my speech, which if you want to get me somewhere, you get me in my speech, because I love to talk. So every time I went to answer a question in class, I was the annoying student in the back of the room that raised my hand to answer every question. And I'd go to speak, and my speech would be slurred. And it got to the point where people were kind of looking at me sideways, right? And I went up to my professors and I said, listen, I'm not drinking. Nothing's going on. I have no idea what's going on. And so I got my degree. And then soon after that, I went to the doctor, and he had no idea what was going on either, and took an MRI. And the MRI showed, he said, could be something, but you know what? He didn't want to diagnose me with anything. And then 8 months later, he wanted to take another MRI. In the meanwhile, another symptom came on. I would go to pick something up off the floor, and I'd go to stand up, and I would be totally dizzy. I would be nauseous. And so I went to my PCP at the time and tried to figure out what was going on. And, oh, you have vertigo, you have vertigo. And so I mentioned to her, well, I went to the doctor, I went to a neurologist a couple months ago. Should I go back to him? Oh, no. This is definitely vertigo. I said, all right. So long story short, went back to the neurologist, probably a little over 8 months, and had another MRI. And meanwhile, he left the practice. So never got a call back about the MRI. I ended up calling several times, talked to a nurse and said, listen, have you got these results back? And she opened my chart and said, it looks fine. I said, fine? She said, oh, yeah. I said, do you think I should, should I see a doctor and discuss this with him? And she said, no, I don't think so. And I said, I think I do. I think I want to. And I made an appointment and came in and spoke to this doctor. And my first introduction into the diagnosis was she opened her computer and she looked at my MRI results and she said, oh, yeah, I think we want to, investigate this further, and we want to see if you have MS, multiple sclerosis. And it just hit me, Dr. Nelson. It just hit me. And I got very emotional. And she looked at me strangely and said, if my brain looked like this, I would want to know why. And then I was like, what does my brain look like? What is going on here? So months down the line, after much more testing, I got the diagnosis from an eye doctor that I had multiple sclerosis. And I had what they call a late onset. I was just about 50 years old at the time. And, and that was February of 2016.
February. So we actually, this month is your diagnosis anniversary, I guess.
Right. 9 years, right?
My first patient wasn't even a patient, was a coworker, a nurse. I was a medical resident. So in the late 80s.
Right.
She had an MRI. Don't remember why she was having it, but I think she was having a little bit of memory problems. And she comes one day and she's saying to another nurse about these white spots that they have found in the brain.
Yes.
And she was also in her 50s, actually.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. So, yes, that's what they found. They found the lesions, the white spots. And I guess when you diagnose it, if it's in a certain area of the brain, it's indicative of MS. But they wanted to go further, and I had nerve tests in my legs. I had a spinal tap, and then the last
check on the spinal cord, the MRIs of all the spine, because
yes,
spots in the.
That's right. That's right. At the time, I did not have spots on my spinal cord at all. Now I have one lesion in my neck.
So
but
you
I
said
was
2016.
Yeah.
Said?
Yeah.
So that's now this month. 9 years of your diagnosis, and
9 years.
So
9 years.
Forward to your worst moment.
Yeah.
What happened over these last few years until you got really in your worst situation?
So my worst, I was thinking about it, and it's interesting how time goes by. So it was 2.5 years ago. I was practicing mental health practitioner online, and I had a thriving practice of over 30 clients, mostly coming in once a week. And at the end of the day, I couldn't speak anymore. I couldn't function. The fatigue. If any of the followers here ever had fatigue, you know what I'm talking about. It's not just being tired. I mean, I can be tired. This was, you feel as though someone put their hands on your shoulders and is pushing you down, and to move is such an effort. When you walk, you're not walking like you normally walk. You're walking through jello. You're walking through a thick liquid. Everything you do is difficult. Every movement that you do, you feel like you're moving in slow motion. So 2.5 years ago, I was at the point where the fatigue was just hitting me hard. I was waking up tired in the morning, going to bed tired at night, with this heaviness, this heavy feeling in my body. My speech would come and go. And, mostly that had resolved itself. But every once in a while, when I got really tired, it would come back again intermittently. My dizziness would come and go. But it was mostly the fatigue that really hit me, and the muscle weakness. My muscles were becoming a little bit weak. And, I'm a long time exerciser, Dr. Nelson. I was a personal trainer back in the 90s and always at the gym, always walking. And that became difficult for me as well. So it came to the point where I had to end my practice. I had to tell my clients that I was no longer available to them, and find other therapists to take over. And that was a really sad moment for me. It was a very, very difficult thing. I decided at first to take a sabbatical for a couple months, and then a couple months turned into 2 years. And for the first year and a half, I spent a lot of time on the recliner, I'd get up in the morning, try to get out of bed, try to get going. And that's really all I did. And I'd do one thing a day, and then the day would be done.
And you mentioned problems walking, speaking, memory, fatigue, and this is clearly typical picture. Did you have any exacerbations where you had become very ill from this?
That was it. The fatigue just made me. It makes you feel as though you have the flu all the time. You just feel, sometimes you get a nausea when you get tired. MS is a neurological, as you know, I don't know if a lot of the people on this morning know this, but it's a neurological disease of the brain and the spinal cord. It's cellular. You go to the cell, to the neurons, and you have the neuron, and then each neuron has a tail, which is called an axon. And on the axon, it's coated with this substance called myelin, which is like the plastic on an electrical cord. So
by the way, a bunch of axons together is what forms.
That's right. That's right. You create neural networks in your brain as these neurons connect together, and they communicate, and they help every aspect of your life. So memory, vision, hearing, any movement, anything that you think that you want to do gets initiated by these neurons connecting together and creating electricity going through your brain, your spinal cord, and out to the tips of your fingers and the tips of your toes.
Were you using any assisted mobility devices?
I was not. I felt as though I was at the point where I would have to start using them. So when the myelin sheath, just for the followers, frays away, you cannot connect the neurons together. It's like a short circuit. So
it's like stripping the outer covering of a electrical cable and
exactly
the cable.
Exactly. So
myelin,
that's,
by the way, what is the myelin made of? You've learned since then?
Oh yes, this is a very important fact. So the myelin sheath is made of fat and cholesterol. So your brain is 60% fat, 40% protein. And a lot of the fat is cholesterol. So when
At
you
least
go on
about half that total fat is cholesterol. Very important for our brains.
yes. So what happens, Dr. Nelson, when you go on a low-fat diet your entire life from the age of 5 years old? What happens to your brain? How do you have the materials to make the brain, which is 60% fat, and the myelin sheath, which is 100% fat? How do you make that without the materials to make it?
And by the way, the cholesterol, I believe, does not cross the blood-brain barrier.
You're correct.
So the brain makes its own cholesterol.
Right.
And,
so I listened to Dr. Benjamin Bickman, and he talks about how when you eat the fat, it gets broken down to the lowest forms of building materials. And those building materials can cross the blood-brain barrier. And then your brain takes it and makes it.
So
I don't know.
When did you realize that any diet, I don't know, I don't remember your diet journey where you discovered, gee, this is improving with my diet?
It's interesting because I have always been interested in diet and exercise. I've always followed various diets, primary low fat, things like Weight Watchers diet. We had something Massachusetts called Diet Workshop that you went to. And I've always been a little on the heavy side growing up. So, my mother put me on a diet at a very young age. So I'm thinking back in maybe the 80s, Atkins came online, the 70s and the 80s. So I went on a low carb diet, and I really did well on it. And I was on that off and on for a lot of years. And when my third son was born, when he was about 6 months old, I went totally low carb. Lost a bunch of weight. And I really did well on that diet. So it's not like I was a stranger of low carb. It's been always on and off.
Well, when you say at that time, when you say totally low carb, you were still doing a keto diet. Yes. With some
veg,
a restricted number of vegetables.
Absolutely. So after my diagnosis for MS, I learned about Terry Walls. I don't know if you've heard about her. She's a doctor who had a lot of success on, she calls it Walls Paleo. So it is very low carb. I did follow that for a while, and I did have some relief. However, it was not like a carnivore diet. I think for me, going totally no carb, totally fatty meat has been my success in this whole thing.
When did you do that?
Okay. So I'm coming up on my carniversary, March 5th.
Okay.
Of 2024. Last year, I started the carnivore diet. And
so another 3 weeks or so is your carniversary.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
how I did, of course, for years as well, low carb. I've advised low carb for many years and used it myself to kind of yo-yo diet because, like many people, had the mindset, well, I lose using this, but then I can go back to
my
regular.
Right.
So when was it that you said, okay, no more plants, no more? What drove you to that weird approach?
So, like I said, August of 2023 is when I had to close my practice. And it was it 2022? I lose track of times. But anyway, I was totally couch-ridden, recliner-ridden. And what happens with MS too is you sometimes you have a lot of hard time tracking when you're reading. And that was happening to me. And that was really scaring me because I'm an avid reader. And so I turned on YouTube, right? So this was about, this was 2023, December, the end of December. I started watching YouTube to try to get answers for this thing. So I was thinking to myself, actually, I was praying to God, like, I've got to find out how to not fix, but alleviate this thing, because I felt like I was running out of time. I felt like I was getting worse and worse, and I had to find an answer. So I started watching YouTube, and I started seeing people just eating meat and finding these results that were incredible. And, you know, first stage, I call it, of carnivores, you kind of sit back and you go, carnivore is crazy. How can people just eat meat? How do they survive? How do they socialize? How do they go to neighborhood parties? How do they go to family gatherings? Right? So I grew up in, I'm half Sicilian. So I grew up in a family, you go to a party and you eat and you drink and you laugh, but it's all together, right? So how do you do that when you eat meat? So that was something my brain just could not reconcile. And since then, you know, going through these stages, I call that stage 1. I call that a very resistant stage, where you say, carnivore is crazy. So
what happened once you decided, okay, I'm gonna give this a try? Because I'm thinking your thought was, I'm gonna give this a try.
Yeah.
What happened when you started trying it, and how long did it take to make any impact on your symptoms?
Like I said, I started March 5th. So it took me from January to March, sitting, watching videos of every person on YouTube, to say, all right, you know what? It's not going to hurt me. I'm going to give this thing a try. And they say, try it for 30 days. So, okay, I'm going to commit of trying this carnivore diet exactly to the T, because I tend to be that type of person. I'm an all or nothing type of person. So I decided to jump in with 2 feet and give this thing a try, and eating nothing but protein, animal protein, meat, chicken, fish at the time. I still kept my coffee. Sorry, carnivores who are totally exact. I kept my coffee. Black.
Watch out for the carnivore police.
I know.
Most of us, I think, drink coffee. I get off of it once in a while.
I do too, but I always go back. So sorry. So I apologize. So meat, coffee, eggs, butter. And I started off probably the first couple of days with cheese, and soon gave it up. So 3 weeks this took. In 3 weeks, I woke up one morning and the sun was a little brighter. There was less mental noise. There was less food noise. Food noise was gone like after a week, right? And by food noise, I mean like the knocking on the door, like, hello, I'm in here in the refrigerator. Come and eat me. I'm in the pantry, Diane. Hello. No food noise after a couple of days. But after 3 weeks, the fatigue just lessened. I was able to do more. I was able to exercise. I was able to listen. I was able to speak. I was able to function in this world as the person that I was. And to me, that was just like, I was just walking around all day going, wow, like I was in this alternative universe that I hadn't been in for a while, right? So that was 3 weeks. 3 months. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So 3 months. So, you know, things were starting to improve a little bit. My sleep got better. Between the 3 weeks and the 3 months, I was up, Dr. Nelson, I was up 4 times a night. Every time I fell asleep, I would wake up. I would have to use the bathroom. I had urinary incontinence with the MS as well. And that to me was very life altering, because you had to stay home, or you had to know where the restroom was everywhere you went. If you went on long rides, that was difficult because you had to stop every hour. So I found that, and it's funny because I never even realized, like, I was at the meetup in Tampa, I was sitting across from a urologist who was asking me questions about that. He was very, very interested. And it never occurred to me that, yes.
He's new. I met him too. He's new to this thing. He was there because his wife is the one who was doing this, but we had a couple of good conversations.
Yes. He was really amazed to hear my story. And that's when I said, wow, this is part of it too, that I didn't even think about, because, for the listeners, when you are healing from such a debilitating disease that has so many symptoms, unless you write them down, you're not gonna remember. And I took my phone and I opened my notes app, and I have everything listed by date, everything that I healed, so that I remember it. And then every time, like if I had a sip of wine, or if I had some cheese, the next day I would feel it. So I would write that date. I would say what I ate the day before, and I would know that this food or this drink, if I decide to eat it again or drink it again, it's going to cause issues for me.
Okay. So if I haven't been paying attention to questions, but Alia, you're tricky.
I'm highlighting them. We got some questions.
So if you have any questions, put them with the hashtag baby watch.
Or just Q. Make it easy for me.
Good morning, Deanna. I see her right here.
I do have one more question before we take other questions.
Yeah.
So fast forward to now. Do you still have any symptoms that you know they are from your MS, or how are you feeling in general with this way of eating?
Dr. Nelson, I am nearly 100% free of symptoms. Nearly. I say nearly because sometimes I'll stand up and I'll get a little, like dizzy for a second, right? Sometimes if I have a cold, or if I have an injury, sometimes the fatigue will come on, because it's like you get a trigger sometimes. However, I have no restrictions on my life at this point. I have no debilitating symptoms that affect me on a daily basis. I would say I'm nearly 100% free of.
That is amazing, because I have seen, multiple sclerosis. We're not claiming this is a cure for this, but it is a debilitating, it is progressive. Sometimes people over the span of their lives have periods of years that go between being great and then all of a sudden being bad again and having exacerbations, recurrences, and all that. But you've done this. We're not talking extremely long time, and you have achieved amazing results. So I had heard your story somewhere when we met this weekend.
Right.
I said to Alia, let's have her this week.
Yeah.
So we're glad that you're here and sharing your story, and you have started with your YouTube channel, which is what's the name of the YouTube channel?
It's called Boston Carnivore Diane Ladd.
Okay.
So please come and visit. I have it's a brand new baby. It's a brand new baby.
Oh my God, we need to subscribe right now. I'm gonna put it in the chat.
Boston Carnivore
Carnivore Diane Ladd.
Okay.
I have 2 videos up. I'm planning on more. Like I said, it's just an infant. It's my newborn baby.
Okay.
So I want to just tell you one more quick story, Dr. Nelson. I went to my doctor in December after following the carnivore diet for 10 months. When I go to my doctor every 6 months, and every 6 months she does a neurological exam. Then we schedule my infusion, my Ocrevus infusion, and every year I get an MRI, and I was due for my MRI December. So I went in December, and I said, I've got to talk to this doctor, and I've got to figure out a way, because I've talked to her about diet before, and she's like, no diet's going to help. You have a progressive neurological disease, and it's going to get worse unless we can stop it with this very strong medication, or at least we can slow it down. 40% chance of slowing down MS. There's no talk of cure. There's no talk of stopping it.
And
so
no talk of regression either. The best they hope is that it
slows down. Yeah.
Slows down stops it in its track, and
that's the best scenario, is that it stops, but they really hope for a 40% chance of slowing it down, whatever that means.
Yeah.
So I went in December, and and I really said some prayers before I went in, because I wanted to speak to her in a way that she was receptive to hearing what I was talking about. And I went in, and she was doing the neurological exam, and that is basically a sobriety test. You put your fingers out, and they have you touch your nose one at a time, follow my finger. And the part that I really, really, really dislike is the walking heel to toe, because it's quite embarrassing to do that and like topple from side to side and not be able to stand up straight. You feel embarrassed about it.
A few years ago, I had a patient that I saw a few times for multiple sclerosis, and she was on the same medication infusion. But the few patients that I've had in the last few years, you could always see them coming in the walk, in the way they move, especially once you knew, you would see, okay, she's feeling better today or not feeling better today.
Right.
Before walking even into the waiting room.
Right. So
you were having the exam.
I was having the exam, and I could see her face, because she's doing the reflexes, and she's looking at me kind of like suspiciously. So as she's doing the exam with me, I'm talking to her. I said, listen, doctor, I know you know what you know, and I know you're an educated, very intelligent woman who has kept me healthy for 9 years. And I appreciate it. And I listen to you, and I understand you, and I appreciate you. However, I have to tell you what I know about what's been happening with me. I've been following the carnivore diet now for 10 months, and I have noticed improvements in my health that go beyond anything that I've ever felt in the past 9 years. And I told her how after 3 weeks, symptoms went away. After 6 months, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 3 months. And the things, I had them in my phone. So I was able to tell her. And she's okay. But the kicker was doing that heel to toe that I couldn't get through 3 steps. I walked heel to toe all the way across the room without wavering at all. And I could see her kind of just stand back. She walked over to her desk. She opened her computer, and she started typing. And then she turned around and looked at me, and she said, so what do you want to do? Never has she asked me that question. What do I want to do? It was usually, okay, we're going to schedule your infusion. We're going to schedule, your MRI. And so I was kind of taken aback, and I said, about what? And she said, well, would you like to schedule the Ocrevus infusion or not? I have a choice. And so I said, listen, I want to do what's best for my health. So why don't we just put the infusion on hold for now? And in 6 months, we can talk about it again. And she said, okay. She said, I'd like to get an MRI. And I'd like to get, we don't do the Ocrevus, but I'd like to get an MRI and schedule for another 6 months. And I said, that's perfect. So that's what we did. And, I left that office. I was in tears. That was just the best possible outcome of that appointment that I could possibly have. So we scheduled the MRI. I went to have it. There was no difference in the lesions. However, there were no new lesions. All the lesions were old lesions. So in another year, I'm hoping to see, I don't know. I hope if it stays the way it is, if I stay the way I am right now, that will be the biggest miracle of all. However, if I could see some diminishing of the lesions by some miracle of miracles, that would be my ultimate hope.
All right, so let's take some questions. Dr. Kiltz, do you have any questions?
We can't hear him.
No.
There you are.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Most important question. How many of you have already gone to Diane Ladd's YouTube and subscribed?
Come on.
There.
We need to get her to 100 this morning.
Boom, 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 boom. And by the way, Diane, I hope you're inviting Dr. Nelson and myself to be on your podcast.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
And anyone that has their own YouTube channel. Wait a minute. If you're on YouTube here, you have your own YouTube channel. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
you all have a channel. If you're listening right now, you all have a channel.
And we'd all love to be on yours. That's the critical part. We're a community to come together.
That's fabulous. And if you have a YouTube channel, there I am. I see
There
it.
you are.
So if you have a YouTube channel and you're listening to us, you also have a story, right, Dr. Kiltz? We need what? The stories, right?
All the stories in healing humanity. How do you spell Boston?
Boston.
Isn't it BAWSTON?
No. Well, the reason I wanted Boston Carnivore is because I have a strong Boston accent.
It's so sweet.
It's very authentic to say Boston Carnivore.
I love it. Somebody else in the chat loves it also.
What happens when you lose your khakis?
Your khakis?
Yeah.
Do you wear your khakis or do you lose your khakis?
You're losing your car keys.
That's right. You forgot where you parked your car.
Khakis.
Yeah. All right.
I'm covering up Dr. Kiltz's face with the thing. I'm gonna stop sharing. We do have a lot of questions. This one's a Dr. Kiltz question. This is from Stevie. I've been doing carnivore since January 8th, not really seeing much weight loss. When should I start seeing some weight loss? I know why this is a Dr. Kiltz question.
Well, I mean, basically being skinny is not natural to humanity anyway. You want to lose weight, visualize what you want, and weights, walking, and eat the meat, and do a 3 to 5 day fasting. It's another critical, crazy one. But being skinny, no matter what I do, I go down to 150, back up to 155, 150, 155. Yep. And it in your body is like magic. It does not want you to be skinny because there will be a famine. But if you want to lean it up, you got to do much more walking and weights. That's my opinion.
So, Ali, I have an answer to that one as well.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
So what I found is if I eat any cheese or milk or cream, the weight doesn't move. As soon as I give up the cheese and the cream and the milk products, the weight will move. And also, if I don't eat enough fat, which sounds like it's kind of an oxymoron, eat fat to lose fat. If I eat fatty meat, my weight goes down. When you limit the fat, your body will burn the protein that you eat. And in the protein, there is a sugar. So it will use that for fuel. But if you use the fat for fuel, it's a pure fat. That's what I found. I don't know if I'm right, Dr. Kiltz.
Well, listen, again, plenty of polar bears get fat on eating only fatty meat, and bears too. So I think the concept of losing weight and being skinny is an oxymoron.
I agree.
This is our problem. I mean, everyone's trying to lose weight, correct?
Yep.
Is it working?
No.
No, because it's not supposed to.
It finds you. You lose it, but it finds you.
Well, because,
Yes.
because, by the way, sugar is never the fuel for the human body.
Right.
It is always fat. Fat contains every building block of our body, every mineral and vitamin, adipose tissue. So I agree with you, Diane, that eating fatty meat, although, again, is there an energy in, energy out? There is. But the problem is we don't understand it. But your brain and your body is like, you're too skinny. You got to get fat because winter is coming, migration, hibernation, nesting, all those things like pregnancy, critical to be fat.
And when your body is under attack by a virus, by an illness, it wants to hold on to the fat.
Well, you're right. But
that's remember, what I find.
Well, the fat, but again, we've maligned fat.
Yeah.
We consider obesity a disease. It is not.
No.
It is a state for hibernation, migration, nesting, gestation, and famines. And so being skinny, anorexics look sick, but obese patients, again, if you're in a cave for 6 months hibernating, you better be fat.
And it's a mindset too. I just recently, personally, I took my scale and I'd put it under my bed because every morning I would wake up and go into the bathroom and I would see it and it would remind me to weigh myself. And I said, you know what? I'm only going to eat meat every day. I'm not going to change what I eat. So why should I weigh myself every day and get frustrated when it goes up a pound, down a pound, up a pound, down a pound? I'm done with it. And the carnivore diet has cured yo-yo, has cured the up and down, the eating, the not eating, the fat, the not fasting. Fasting's different, but the starving and the binging, gone. You just eat what you eat till you're full and you stop. And it's simple.
And it gives you the power of the mindset.
Yes.
To do the work. I mean, I think fasting is one of the very best things we can do. And think about it. Dairy, by the way, where did we get dairy for the first 3.5 million years? Your mom's breast. Your mom's breast.
Yeah, our mommies.
And it was there to get you fat. So
grow.
But
right.
Remember, adipose tissue is the building block for your body. You can build muscles on fat all day long.
Right.
And so that's kind of the interesting one. Ketones, I don't know. Ketones are always there, aren't they, Dr. Nelson?
Not if you eat sugar.
Well, no, ketones are always there.
But not at any high.
They're always there, but sugars. Remember, think of insulin as a digestive hormone. So we never ever ate significant amounts of sugar in our evolution.
Right.
And so the purpose of sugar is to go to the liver and make fat via insulin. And my bet is if you and I had to go hunting today, Dr. Nelson, what would we hunt?
Well, I've never gone really hunting, but I do say every time I go to the supermarket, I said I'm going hunting because all I bring is usually just meat. All right. Do we have any other questions?
Oh, we got plenty of questions. Let's see. Anthony, so I am new at Carnivore and I snack on bacon every day, like once or twice a day. Is that okay? Or butter?
Next.
We said yes. Next. Okay. Jeremy asked this question twice. Jeremy, any relationship between blood type ABC and carnivore diet? Do we have to have a certain blood type to start a carnivore diet?
Forget about the blood type. Don't even pay attention to that.
When did we first label our blood types?
100 years ago?
Maybe. Here's a good one.
I happen to be the blood type that they say, meat is good for you, but
Me too.
I use it to my advantage, saying, well, I am O positive, but don't pay attention to that.
So imagining the caveman, like, what shall I eat today? Okay. It's my blood type. So now I have to starve because there are no plants available for me. So it's like, we're human beings. We all have the same DNA. So we need to eat same things. This is what we're meant to eat.
Is your blood type determined by a sugar or a protein?
No idea.
Protein, right? Sugar?
Oh, wow.
Sugar, the glycobiome. Read about the glycocalyx and the glycobiome. Glycoscience. Basically, sugars are the reason for all of our genetic expression, not the proteins. Sugars. Wow.
You need to do a longer video about this, Dr. Kiltz.
We'll do it. We'll do it.
Teddy, my mom won't try carnivore because she says she hates the taste of red meat and fat in general. Any reason for this?
Brainwashed.
Yeah. If you stopped eating standard American diet and forced yourself to eat meat, you would start liking it. That's from my experience. And if you go the other way, you don't want to eat the meat.
So if you stopped eating sugar and carbohydrates,
exactly,
you would develop a taste for red meat because it's like a hyper palate. You have this palate that is seeking sugar and carbohydrates, and that's what you're used to.
So I do prefer the red meat. I don't have any problem eating the red meat, but red meat is not the only thing that you can eat. If you have to eat other things, you can have chicken and turkey, and put extra butter on that.
Or eggs.
Dr. Kiltz doesn't like fish that much, but I love salmon. I usually buy it, freeze it for a month.
Or Kiltz's ice cream. She might like Kiltz's ice cream.
I should actually answer this question. My mom was vegan for years, and she did it for like spiritual and mental reasons, not because she doesn't want to eat animals. Maybe it's also brainwashing. But
did you kill a plant today?
Yeah, she killed many plants, and we wasted plants. So many plants died in the refrigerator. But the point is, she is not vegan anymore, and she's doing keto with sardines, salmon. She does like her salads. She does do some cheese, but she's lost weight, and she's working on reversing her diabetes. By the way, the vegan vegetarian way got her very obese, and standard American diet also, and it didn't help. But I'm just saying, she's doing like a keto with, it's not carnivore. She won't eat the beef, but she will eat the salmon, the fish, and the eggs, and she's a lot healthier now. So
it's a process.
It's a process. Yeah. And remember, I'm so happy for her.
Remember, we only eat either plants or animals.
Okay. Yeah.
That's all we eat. You don't
eat plastic.
Some mushrooms and algae, I guess, but ultimately you don't eat protein and you don't eat sugar. You eat either animal cells or plant cells. And the last I looked, heroin, cocaine, marijuana, nicotine, caffeine come from
plants.
Can we make a coffee that is animal based? Somebody is tasked with that now.
It's called bone broth.
Oh yeah, I do drink that. That's true. It's true. Okay. Elizabeth, I have been on carnivore for 1 year in March, have lost hair, dry skin, vertical nails. Should I start a zinc supplement? I told her to eat oysters and bone broth, but there you go. Anyone else?
All right. So, Diane, have you gone through a period of any hair loss with your diet?
No, I'm very lucky. I have very thick hair and I haven't lost any of it.
That's awesome.
My skin is very dry historically, and my nails are very weak historically. However, I feel for Elizabeth, but I didn't have any of those problems. My nails got better, and my skin is just amazingly better. I suffered from eczema for my whole entire life from when I was an infant. And this diet has cured it. But I have heard people with trouble with hair loss, and I'm wondering if it's hormonal.
I think it's hormonal.
Well,
I've lost a lot of hair.
It happens.
Yeah.
First of all, it happens with any dietary change. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So it's not exclusive to I'm doing this. It's the diet's fault. No, it happens with almost.
Yeah. Look at Nelson. Look at his hair.
Yeah. Look at. By the way, I can grow hair. I did this 5 years ago because of a friend who was dying. Shaved his head, and I.
Thank you.
It looks very good on you, Nelson.
It does.
Thank you very
much.
So, you could have hair loss for actual nutritional deficiencies like the B vitamins and the iron. You should, if you're having hair loss, go to the doctor and have it checked. And it could be hypothyroidism. It could be a few other things that the most common, but I see one of the thing people, I gotta have my collagen, right?
Yeah. Oh, he's leaving. It's us. Bye.
So collagen. I'm gonna leave this for another explanation. Is there one more question? Because it's 5:50.
I just want to add to this. Do the bone broth. My skin feels amazing. Do the bone broth daily. And that'll help the dry skin. Don't know about the hair.
No collagen supplements help. Collagens have to be digested in the gut to be able to be absorbed, and they don't get digested down to a collagen protein. Protein is broken down into polypeptides of 2 or 3 at the most. Otherwise, they are absorbed as single amino acids. Eat the connective tissue eat the cartilage of the bones. That's your collagen.
So I do have some expertise in this. I was a hairdresser back in the day, and I would see people coming in. It depends on how is the hair being lost. Is it all over? Is it spots like an alopecia areata, or is it? I'm wondering if when you have. This is just a thought that I just came up with here. When you have autophagy going on in your body, when cells that you're no longer needing are being shed, I'm wondering if some of the hair follicles also are being shed, but also to rejuvenate. So now your hair is being lost, but now it's going to come in and it's going to be thicker and stronger and shinier, and all the old hair is going away. And I'm wondering if that could be a process. And I don't know. It
could be autoimmune issues, fungal issues. But
I don't know if it's disease at this point. It might be just a renewal of the hair coming in stronger and better and shinier. And some people on Carnivore, their hair turns. If it was gray, it comes back their original color. Because
my hair turned black.
It turned black when you turned Carnivore?
Yeah. I had to dye it back to the gray. People we all cells die.
Right.
Autophagy never stops. There's just more poisoning when we're more on plants. So it just appears that we're not doing it. It always, but it's cyclicity. There's a cyclicity to everything. Yes. And so you're right, Diane. There's always going to be natural loss and growth, and there's time to grow and a time to die.
Right. And if it's all over and the hair from all over your head is just coming out, that's actually a good thing. That happens after pregnancy as well.
Yeah. And Dr. Nelson's hair was growing in so much, he too had to change it up.
He had to shave it because it was just so thick. It was crazy.
Who's on tomorrow?
Lee Kopis.
Awesome. Dr. Nelson. Yes? We got Dr. Nelson tomorrow?
Are you here tomorrow, Dr. Nelson?
I can be, yeah.
We got to do the gift away. Here we go. Do you see it on the screen? Okay, good. Let's see who's the winner today. It's the Dr. Kiltz again.
No, it can't be Kiltz. If I win, you do it again.
If
Just
it lets
keep doing
me. No, it's not going to be Kiltz. Michael Pregler, yay! He already went to the gym, I believe, but I don't have his address. I'll reach out to him tomorrow.
Well, he's on
Good job,
YouTube.
Michael.
He's on YouTube.
Oh, okay, great.
Everyone's available, and plus Michael Pregler's on Kiltz Mighty Tribe.
Oh yeah, I'll send him a message then. Okay, guys, there you go. He's the wonderful winner today. Stop screen.
All right, I'm signing off on Kiltz
Bye,
Mighty
Diane.
Tribe.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure to be with all of you so early in the
Thank you for
morning.
being here, and subscribe to her channel. Okay,
Yes.
Boston
Woo.
Carnivore, Diane Ladd.
In Boston, Carnivore is helping me do a Boston meetup either on May 10th or 11th. We're sorting that out right now.
Can't wait.
Boston, it's going to be so awesome for all you Bostonians and New Yorkers and wherever you are.
Have a good day.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye all.
Have a great day.